We are talking Bridgerton, season 4 on Nerdy Romantics podcast today, y'all. And I've got a full house, so this is going to be a lively discussion that may end up being 2 episodes, let's be honest. And we are going to spoil everything. So, spoiler alert. All right, come back with us as we talk Bridgerton season 4. This is the Nerdy Romantics podcast, and I'm your host, Y.M. Nelson. How y'all doing today?
Good, and you?
Good.
So good. So good to see you.
Oh my gosh, I'm telling you, I'm loving this. So everybody who's just listening out there, because there are a lot of listeners, thank you. We have Stacy, Jen, Marcy, and Dana with us today.
Hello.
The elusive.
Howdy. Oh, yes, Dana the elusive. Dana, you're not elusive. Dana just has her things, right? She's not necessarily a superhero girly. She just has her things, and Bridgerton is one of those things. But let's talk season 4 to see if season 4 is actually one of those things that she liked, because she also has a very, very specific opinion about stuff. So, if you are just joining us and new to Nerdy Romantics podcast, we have reviewed every season of Bridgerton since it began. So, we're not going to go over how we found this one. We were just waiting for this one to come around. We're just going to talk about maybe the differences going into this one and coming out of this season, because we all left season 3 with a certain feeling. Actually, Jen, you weren't with us. I don't know if you felt the same way that we did, but we all had a certain feeling about season 3 that was not a good feeling. Okay. All right. Jen is shaking her head saying yes. Oh, she hears us. Okay. So I want to know, going into this, what expectations did you have? And then we'll talk about if those expectations were met. How about that? So, Dana, since you are so elusive, let's catch you before you get away from us this time. Okay. What did you think going into this one from season 3? What were your expectations?
Well, speaking of leaving season 3, I left it on episode 5. So I know when we talked, I had decided I was not watching any more of it. I was done. And honestly, I was probably done with Bridgerton at that point, period, because I was over it. Mm-hmm. So until I talked to you, I wasn't going to watch it at all. But you convinced me and told me I need to watch the last 2 episodes of season 3 before I went into 4. And so I did that. So honestly, my expectation of going to 4, I heard a little bit of outside chatter about 4 before I watched it. And I did not, as everybody knows, which is why I left on episode 5. I did not like the direction the show went in season 3. And so because it was the same showrunner, what I heard from people was that 4 wasn't good either. So going into it, I was just like, hey, I want to be part of the podcast. So I was like, I'm going to watch it. So I really I had no hope for it. I just wanted to be part of the group.
All right.
Okay. Was going to win out.
I mean, peer pressure. So Marcy says you're in the box next to Dana on my screen. What did you think going into season 3? Were your expectations as low as Dana's?
I mean, they were probably slightly higher than Dana's, but only because it couldn't be them again. Mm-hmm. So from that perspective, I felt like it had to be better because worse was hard to do. Just from a perspective of characters, like yeah. So I actually was pretty not like overly excited at first, but as the marketing machine that is Shondaland and Bridgerton and Netflix started doing their thing, I started to get more excited about it, remembering how I felt in season 1, 2, Queen Charlotte. And so that revived me. And so by the time I saw the first 4 were available, I was ready to watch them.
All right. Okay. So sorry, I've got a little screen juggling here. So Jen, what about you? What did you think about, since you weren't on the podcast last time when we talked about season 3? What did you think about season 3, and what were your expectations going into season 4?
Season 3 was not my favorite. I think it was the weakest of them all. And I really think that they just needed to do more. Yeah. So going into season 4, I had some high hopes. I did have some high hopes. I was like, all right, come on. I know we can bring it back. And yeah. So I had some good hopes, and everybody kept talking about the masquerade ball. For the people that had read the books, I have not read the books. FYI, I read one book in that series. And so I really didn't know anything about a lot of these other characters or how they were going to play it. So I kind of came in a little just hopeful, and I knew that there would be really beautiful dresses, and they would be like really amazing scenery, and whatever they were going to do for the masquerade ball was going to be fabulous. So I kind of went in with that, like maybe visually it was going to be a good thing if it wasn't a story good thing. So
okay. All right. Stacy, what about you? What did you think coming into this season? Your expectations?
I really didn't have high. Well, I'm not gonna say I didn't have high expectations. I didn't really think about it much at all, except that Bridgerton's back. Have me something to watch. I really wasn't. It wasn't like when you first started, where I was like, oh my gosh, ready for the second season of Bridgerton. After the third one, it's like it was okay, but I guess it's losing its bloom. It's not the same. Like, okay, the next thing of Bridgerton is coming out, and I never read the books, so I wasn't really as like, oh, what's the next thing's going to be about or anything like that. The books were never something I've been interested in, and it was like with any TV show, you'll have seasons where you like it really well, and then seasons like, and they could have done better. So my expectation was like, just okay, we'll see. I'll be honest, I was going to see how they're going to, for this particular, the main character, or the main brother on this one. I mean, he wasn't anybody I really, not say cared about, but it was just like, oh, let's see how they're going to pull into his different love affairs. And initially, I didn't know it was, to be honest, I didn't know it would be a guy or girl for love interest when they first talked about, just for the fact of his history. And then how they were changing things around. So I didn't know about that. Overall, I'm glad they had different storylines going through it. And I know we're going to talk more about those different storylines going through it. And I think it needed that, because if we just watched those two the whole time, I'm not sure. I'd be like, okay, we didn't have to split the season if that was the case. We didn't have to do those two separate. That could have been all together, and it could have been half of it if it was just them and just that. And I really wish they had gone into more detail on some of those other relationships that we saw in this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going to agree with that last part. Yeah, I really wish they had gone into a little bit more, because I have some ideas, and I didn't want to spoil it, y'all, in the notes that I sent, but I have some ideas about, based on kind of things that I've heard. But again, I'm also one, I don't think any of us have read the books, and none of us really are going to read the books. But thank you, Julia Quinn, for the IP, right? Thanks for giving Shonda something to work with. But yeah, so I think what's going to happen, should this get another season, I don't know. Did they say that it got another season or not? I haven't been paying attention.
Bridgerton 5?
Yeah.
I'm almost positive.
Yeah. I'm thinking it did too. Yeah. So I'm thinking that some of these are going to play out in the next season because even though the younger children, at least one of them seems ready to go out into onto the marriage mart and go out and date or however they talk about that. I still think that they're really young to be doing that.
Yeah.
But when I guess me going in, I was like, oh, here's another thing I can put on the podcast. I'm a little bit like Dana. I'm like, okay, yes, something that we can put on the podcast. But I felt some kind of way about the Penelope and Colin season, and I didn't have high hopes at all there about that. So it was just like, let's just see what happens. Wasn't a real like, oh, I really want to see what happens with Benedict. I really wasn't feeling that in that way. Like, as he says, he's a rake. I'm like, let a player do what a player wants to do. I don't care. That's how I felt. Y'all, for real.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
Oh, and I did
Benedict has been
confirm.
having a good time. That you know what? He's just been out there having a good time.
He really has.
Yeah.
And I did confirm that they are confirmed for season 5.
Yeah, I see season 5 and season 6.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. So we can see maybe some of these stories that I wanted to see more of. Maybe we'll see them in 5 and 6. But one thing that I will say, I was like, that let the wind out of my sails is the ton, especially Queen Charlotte, found out who Lady Whistledown is. And that's why I was like, have we jumped the shark, y'all? I was trying to figure out where they were going to go with that. And if I was really, other than the podcast, and I wanted to dish about the podcast, I wanted to see it to see where they were actually going to go with that, because I love the little mystery of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my little nerdy thing in this whole romantic drama. I love the whole mystery and seeing if people could figure out who Lady Whistledown was. And 2, there was a part where we didn't know who she was for season 1 and 2, I guess, or season 1 and part of 2. But anyway, that was because everybody knew. I was like, well, what's going to happen now? So now that we've kind of seen who Whistledown is and what's going on there, and now that we've also seen what happens in the end, what do we think about the way that they treated Whistledown? Anybody?
I understand why once you know who it is, you don't want to be around them because you might become fodder for their next newsletter. Like, I get why people were like standoffish once they realized who it was. I think, to your point, part of the cachet, part of the mystique of it all was the whole who is Lady Whistledown. I mean, I think not knowing who it is and then wondering if it's everyone in the room is a lot more fun than knowing who it is and then wondering if she's talking about you specifically. So I think that is it. So I was glad at the end when even Penelope was surprised when she got the piece of paper with the new episode in it, with the new edition of Lady Whistledown, because I think at that point I was like, well, finally, because I agree that they had used up all their real estate with Penelope. It could not be her. She could not keep doing it. Her life had changed a lot too. But I was glad to see that it's not the last we've heard of Lady Whistledown.
So I think for me, with it no longer being Penelope, number one, I'm concerned for her character because I don't know where she goes from here, because her and Colin, they're not interesting. And then I feel like she's not doing this. So I'm not sure what we're going to see out of her in the next couple of, I don't know if she'll go the way of, who is it, Daphne or whatever, who no longer apparently exists in the family. I don't know. I don't know.
They mentioned her, but yeah.
No, like I'm kind of like, I don't know where she goes from here. But I'll tell you one thing I thought was weird, kind of towards the end when Lady Whistledown was still her and giving stuff, I could not understand where Penelope got any information because she never seemed to be anywhere. Stuff was popping off, and I didn't know how she would speak as Lady Whistledown to some of this. It was clear she wasn't there, didn't have that information, even when it was supposed to be still her. So I thought that was kind of weird. I was like,
so maybe that's
now,
maybe that's it.
Maybe she got a network now. She's a Bridgerton after all.
Maybe something, because she certainly wasn't in those places to have this information. So I was like, are we just being narrated at this point by the overall story, or is somebody like leading this? Because it didn't make any sense.
Were you talking about like for this season or the last few seasons?
This season in particular. Okay. This one.
Well, I mean, the only thing I can think of like for this, like you said, is she might have had a network now of people in place, or
and
talking
that's
to
interesting,
people.
Because I didn't even think about that.
Or people, the common people, the maids. Like you said, was it season 1 or season 2, where she's like, where Mama Bridgerton was talking about we'll talk and how they spread all these rumors and all that amongst the maids and all that, and how it got up to that is the only thing I can think of that she get that information now. I mean, I can see how she got the information in the previous seasons because she was a wallflower. No one paid attention to her, and she could slip in and out of anywhere, and no one really paid any attention to her. Now, you're right. I couldn't see how she could work as Lady Whistledown because of the fact that everybody knows who she is, and as soon as she leaves up, I'm like, and we need to move because there she is right there. You would know who she is. And,
so in the first episode, she says that people come to her, and that so many people would come to her and tell her the gossip, and then their goal was, does my piece of gossip end up in Lady Whistledown?
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to like have their gossip shown in Lady Whistledown because it was important to the queen. And so that's how she was getting her information. Everybody wanted that. It was that proximity to the queen.
But also, I think with them telling her, it wasn't really true. It's gossip, but it's not that good gossip. It's not
because I want you to know it.
Because you want to know.
It's It's self-serving in some way, and then she didn't have a real good way to verify it, like she did when she was the one. Yeah, and I can see how that was overwhelming.
I think that's why she wanted out.
Well,
I think that's why she wanted out.
But I think part of his reason is that because she is known, people could confront her about it too, like the mistress there who had confronted her, and it's because she knew you didn't say my name. Well, everybody's going to know who it is, me, and therefore you're ruining my life. And now she has to face consequences of what she did. Before, she really didn't have to face the consequences until the end with Eloise there, and that's it. Other than that
was awkward.
No one knew who Lady Whistledown, and so there was no blame. There's no one to confront at that point. But now it's like, okay, we know who it is, and I'm coming for you, girl, because you just sell my business.
Right. And then I think the difference between Daphne and Penelope is Penelope married in and Daphne married out. So I think we will still be able to see more of Penelope because she married into the Bridgerton family, but Daphne married out to be with the Duke of Hastings. So I think it's easier to write her away. But I'm hoping, because she seems to be like mentoring the rest of the girls in some weird way, and they still that sister romance thing she's got going with Eloise. They're still doing something. Are they friends, not friends, whatever. So I'm hoping we'll see more of her, because I do like the evolved version of her, and I would like to see more of her not tied to Whistledown, just because I feel like there's more room to grow.
But isn't her family still living like across the street? I mean, I'm not sure where they're living exactly, but did her son is
they're still in the zip code.
So I don't think still in 90210. Like the eldest daughter, which, like you said, she married out in a way,
right?
Versus for Penelope, she moved in, but she's really just next door. I mean, or across the street, or not that far. I mean, it's not the same, because we're seeing the older brother, even though he went to India.
So and we're still seeing that. Thing. We're still seeing that. So
but they're not big characters. Right. I think they're coming in. But it'll be that. I think that'll be the same way for Penelope and Colin.
I mean, I honestly, I think a lot of the things with Daphne or whatever is more of an outside the show issue than it is really having to do anything with the show. I like to tease it because I think it's funny. Like, I think because I always felt like they started this off, and at least for the guy whose name I don't remember off the top of my head, I thought he was just going to have this big amazing, was going to go somewhere, and it just seemed like it just fizzled away.
Oh, the
Well, he
Reggae
said he
John
knew.
Page.
Reggae John Page. He said he knew. I mean, he knew he wasn't
Yeah.
gonna. Yeah,
He
knew.
was on board with it too, I think.
But I think, well, so that's kind of not, I guess, what I heard so much, because I think the idea was he still was supposed to come back, just like they all come back, right? And visit, but we haven't seen them do anything. Like they're really.
She came back. She came back for season two.
It seems really, but he didn't. And like again, this is an outside the show thing, because I don't believe if whatever was going on, he wouldn't have been there. So whatever the politics is, or whatever, it's because somebody outside the show, be it him or whoever, has chosen not to do it. So it seems weird. Like in my mind, I think if, again, hindsight is 2020, I probably would have casted somebody else if I thought he wasn't going to come and return, because I feel like they are too much a part of the show that we don't talk about them. I know y'all said she was mentioned. I didn't hear it, so I missed the bleep.
No, she was there. She came back for season 2 with the baby.
No, I'm talking about 4. I'm talking about
she was mentioned. She was
so
mentioned.
I didn't even hear her mention. Like until we started talking now, I forgot they even existed. So I was just like, but I didn't with Anthony and whatever.
Yeah.
Like he came back and they were clearly there, but not at the same time. You don't have to be there on every episode, but it's clear y'all still part of the family. I feel like they're still part of the family. I remember them, I kind of forgot about the first one, and they're the ones who really set it off. Y'all know I was like, I don't know about Bridgerton, and season 1 got me. I really liked it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think it's interesting. I like it.
Yeah, season 1 got a lot of folks, and yes, he's a big part of why season 1 got a lot of folks versus Daphne. I think story-wise, I think yes, it's outside of the story and it's outside of the show.
Right.
It's outside of the show, whether it's politics, whether it's this is what I want, whether it's this is my contract, I don't know. But it is definitely outside the show. But the way that they can do it, like Marcy was saying, Daphne married out. And 2, Daphne is a woman in this time period, right? So we don't necessarily have to see her again, right? Because she's in the house. You know what I mean? So she is out. Whereas Anthony, he's the Viscount, right? He's the one that has to do the actual business for the Bridgerton household, because Violet technically can't because she's a woman. And so that's why Anthony, I think, is more story-wise has to be there, right? At least at some point, has to make some kind of appearance at some point, because story-wise, he's the one that does the stuff with the Bridgerton household. And then 2, especially here with season 4, even though Benedict stepped in while Anthony was in India, Benedict is still like the rogue dude, right? So Anthony is also acting a little bit as the foil or the voice of reason. You know, so story-wise, that's why I think Anthony has to come back, and why the Daphne and the Duke of Hastings, they don't have to come back, and why it makes it a little bit easier for some of the whatever they have going on outside the show to happen. But what I want to get back to is the actual romance going on here. And I was going to kind of connect the Whistledown network a little bit to the whole upstairs, downstairs thing that we see. Maybe it's possible that Penelope could have tapped into, because remember, she actually got some of her gossip from the dressmaker on a previous season. So now here we see the full upstairs, downstairs dramas going on. And we have also the main relationship is one, the upstairs, downstairs kind of thing. I don't like the way that trope is. Upstairs, downstairs. I don't like that, but you know what I'm saying. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. So when I kind of connect that, I got a Downton Abbey feel when they did that. Did anybody else get that feel?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay. And then B, we also got a little bit of a Cinderella retelling. Now, I don't know if the book is
that was
like this
closer
or
for
anything.
me.
Yeah, but that's what I really felt when the romance really started. I got a Cinderella retelling feel. So, what did y'all think about this whole relationship, about the whole upstairs, downstairs? I just like the whole looking at the different characters and the story and everything going on there. I just liked all of that. What did y'all think about it? Dana, in case we Dana's been getting kicked off of the internet or something for some reason. So let me give you a chance to speak while you are here.
Sure. So, I mean, honestly, at first, when they were all outside and the whole masquerade ball and all that stuff, I was like, what is this? Can we not come up with a more novel story? Like, what is this? I mean, the midnight, the glove instead of a shoe. I was like, what is this? So I was kind of like, what are we doing? I didn't really know what was going on with this. Now, the whole he's got a title and she doesn't, the story's been told a million times. It's not anything new, obviously. But I think for me, and y'all have heard me talk about this kind of before, I was not as interested in the two of them as I was in other relationships or other things that were going on during the show. So, but one thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to be careful how I say this because I don't want to offend people when I say this, but all her pushing away, I thought she gave very mixed signals, and I didn't like her in this relationship with her.
Okay.
And I don't know how you tell somebody like you're hurting me. I want to be like, excuse my English, bitch, get up out my house. Like, this is my thing. I didn't understand how I'm hurting you. You live here. Leave. I kind of felt like, oh, I can't be around you. Oh, but here I am every time you turn around. So I did not believe at any moment that she was like, I just can't do this. Y'all both equally wanted it as bad. And I know this is a different time, y'all, and I didn't live there or anything, but I had to laugh at how everybody had to be all respectable, and you can't marry a maid or anything, but you could be the biggest hoe and sleeping with every man and woman all over town, but you don't want to ruin our name by marrying a maid. Like, I just
right.
I didn't understand
that proxy he probably has is not a problem for anybody.
I was just like,
I think I agree. You know what? I think that moment where she finally explains everything at the end when he is about done, where she finally equates it to I trusted my father and then he didn't come through, and then I trusted my feelings and I thought all this and all that. Like, it was a great moment. But I agree with you to some point, Dana. I'm not sure if I was him that I would have still been standing there to hear it, because you are correct in that her push-pull was very. And when he said to her, I don't think that the love you feel for me is like the love I feel for you, because if it is, you wouldn't be acting this way. Like, I feel like that was the Bridgerton way of saying exactly what you said. Bitch, get yourself together. Like, because I think at some point, even he was tired, because we were already tired. And I think that if that scene had not existed, that I would have totally written her off. Once she said that and explained it and it moved the plot forward a little bit, I was like, okay, fine. But it took her a long time to get there, and I was like him. Fine. Go ahead and go. When he said to her, go ahead. If you feel like you got to do something different, go ahead and do something different. Like, move around then, because she was getting on my nerves too. You just want me for this. But I just tried to make you a girlfriend, and you just tried to make yourself a hoe again. What is happening here? He was very confused. He was like, I was trying to do right by you this time, and you just telling me you just wanted to get your rocks off? Like, it was she was very wishy-washy. And when she explained why I tried to get there, but I think for me, the Cinderella-ishness of the story disappointed me a little bit, in that, to your point, Yvonne, like, I was like, we can come up with one other way to introduce the story than that one, because it was down to the two stepsisters, the one that liked her and the one who didn't. Like I was like, did everybody take the season off and just be like, oh, that's what we're gonna go with? Because it was that I knew in the first scene what was gonna happen in the scene with the wheel. Like with the fact that I knew that in episode 1, what was gonna happen in episode 7 or 8. I feel like that was kind of disappointing from the main love interest perspective. I think you're right, Dana. And that part of it did make me invest a bit more in the rest of the characters, because I already knew what was gonna happen with them. I know that story. Right. And they played it to the hilt. The only thing that was different is that Cinderella went to jail. That was new. I will give you the novelty of the jail scene. That was new. I think in the original Cinderella, they just locked her in the attic. This time they sent her to a jail. But other than that, I really was. That's where I felt like. Now, did they tell a good Cinderella story? Yes. Was the stepmother really good at being evil? Yes. But is that what I came to Bridgerton to see? No, because I've already seen Ever After. I've already seen 2 different versions of Cinderella, also with a British stepmother. Like, I didn't need this. I think that's the part that kind of disappointed me the most, was that for the main romance I came to see, it was a story I'd already heard.
It was too on the nose. Like, I didn't expect that. I don't feel like any other season was like, and I could be wrong, and maybe there's stories I just don't know about, but I was like, what is, it was just too obvious.
It was very much, again, the only real, so what Stacey said, a glove instead of a shoe, but it was not different enough that I didn't feel that the whole time I was watching that story unfold, to the point where when she found the wheel, I was not surprised. She was the only one who didn't know that was going to happen.
I was disappointed how somebody as educated as they kept saying that she was, and how she felt about her, I guess, stepmother, for lack of better words, would not have thought to look at that. Why would you have taken this woman's word for anything that she said? I didn't.
I had to remind myself young. She was young when he died, and she didn't have anybody to help her through that loss except somebody telling her that her dad didn't care about her. There was nobody to reinforce
been in that house for 7 years since he died. I would have been all up and through that wheel. Again,
but there was nobody. How? She didn't have money of her own, and like she to her point.
No, I said I would have been in the wheel. I would have looked for the wheel, is what I'm saying. So that's what I mean. Like, it was in the house.
Lady said, what she said, she didn't have standing. Like, there was nobody. She wasn't legitimate enough to have standing. So who was she going to get to advocate for her if her stepmother didn't do it? The answer was she had to get somebody stronger.
Like, I still would have, because I think when she walked away, though, I wouldn't have allowed that woman to make me feel like my dad didn't love me. So even if I couldn't change the outcome, I would still want to know, did he think about me or anything? She didn't. It's just not that she allowed her to take money.
But did she ever did her father ever acknowledge her as his daughter? Truly.
I mean, we don't know, because they cut all that out. We didn't see nothing.
Yeah. Remember, we saw him at the beginning, and we could tell he really loved her. And just like in Cinderella, they had a very close relationship.
Yeah, but when
he left her kind of out.
No, but I'm talking about when they first came in with the stepdaughter and the stepmother and the stepdaughters came in.
He said she is a ward.
It's a ward. She didn't.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He never said this is my daughter, even though she knew the daughter. So the very first meeting, he didn't really acknowledge her or tell her. Or I mean, I'll be honest, for the stepmother too, be like, Ward, I know who the hell this is that you just showed me to, and I'd be a little bit mad to be that this is what the first time you're gonna tell me you got another kid living up here. I mean, I know she brought her own children as well, but you could have warned her before that. But at the same time, he didn't even acknowledge to say, we never saw anything like this is my daughter. And maybe I missed it because again, they weren't big on my list of watching people on the whole season either. It didn't show that how she was treated after her stepsisters or whatever you want to call them that at this point, how she was raised alongside of them. Was she raised alongside of them, or was she raised as the ward and kind of far like a little bit farther back.
Oh, I thought she was a little maid.
She,
I thought
no,
she was a
she
maid.
was not a maid. She was not a maid. No.
No, I'm talking about after they came. I didn't know they were raised.
No, not after they came. She was not a maid.
Clue.
She was not a maid until he died.
Until he died, exactly.
So
Because
he called
actually
her the
he
ward the whole
said,
time.
Say that again?
So he called her the ward the whole time. Never really acknowledged him as his daughter.
Right.
Never
He called her a ward the whole time, but she was saying something to somebody when he died. No, she was talking to him. She was talking to him, and she was talking about, I think it was dance lessons. That's why she doesn't know how to dance. And Araminta, Wicked stepmother, she had said, and she said that only the sisters got the dance lessons, and she told her dad that. Now, do we know if he went back and told Araminta, hey, put her in dance lessons, blah blah blah? We don't know any of that, but we just saw this one little instance. To Stacy's question, we just saw this one little instance of where Araminta was basically trying to cut her out of the whole sister legacy, dowry, whatever. Cut her out of being a sister, or being treated the same. But before
that, we know that she was, because that's why she had a command of languages, and that's why Lady Bridgerton kept saying, "There's got to be more to you," because she was far more refined and educated than a maid would have been. And that's why she kept asking her, are you sure there's nothing you want to tell me? Are you sure there's nothing? And it's because her command of languages, she was much more like a governess trained than she was ever like a maid. And that's usually someone who's been in a position of being a ward. And so that's why she was like, there's something, you're not a maid. Like, is there something you want to tell me? But again, Cinderella, lock, stock, and barrel. Was not surprised by anything she did to disenfranchise her. Was not surprised that she took her dowry. Was not surprised. Like, all of that to me was like textbook.
Yeah.
Tale as old as time.
I wish that there had been more clarity about Sophie's parentage, because she'd been calling that guy dad because he says you can't call me papa in front of them or whatever. And so that's when she goes from him being papa to him not being papa anymore, was when the women arrived. And nobody talks about her mom. Okay. But I wish they had. I wish we had known.
Well, we do know. Yeah. We do know her mother was a maid. He had an affair with a maid. We know that.
Right. Are we sure
that we know? Yeah. So because remember, that's the whole reason. That's the whole reason.
I thought that was what the stepmother said, though.
Okay.
The stepmother is the person who relays the information that her mother was a maid, and all she'll ever be is a maid, and you might as well work here, and I'll take care of you.
What the stepmother said, that she's a maid, then why can't Sophie believe that her daddy didn't leave her anything? Because
exactly. I mean, I guess that's true. Exactly. But also, would the maid have had that amethyst necklace? Now that I think about it, like, would she have? I don't know. I felt like the necklace.
But then why was her dad saying that? But then why would her dad treat her? Say you can't call me Papa anymore. I thought
maybe
that was
she might not have been, but I think she might not have been a maid, but she could have been a mistress, or she could have been something like that.
Okay,
she's
still not
married her,
which is what.
Yeah.
So we don't even.
That's
know
kind of what she was thinking.
Yeah.
It was a mistress type relationship, which is why she was pushing back on Benedict when he's like, "I can make you my mistress," because she's like, this is how I got here. because my mama was a mistress to this noble dude.
I mean, I don't think whether you're a maid or a mistress, it matters. Like,
at least if you was a mistress, you wouldn't have to clean.
Well, a mistress. Right. Marcy is saying the exact point.
That's what Benedict said.
That's exactly what he was saying. You don't have to clean.
You ain't got to work.
Do that.
But I think it's like that's because it's him, and he's going to keep her
exactly.
longer. But real world, Mistress had a shelf life. Once they got a couple of years on you out the door, that's why they was saving money and secreting money and stuff like that. So they'll have some place to do at the end. Whatever.
Totally, but when you're the mistress, you're not also cleaning, but you are stashing that dough.
I'm not
away.
darning.
But maybe
Yeah,
for him, it's different.
That's if he's giving you enough money to do that. So
But that
think
was
about
totally different because she was going to be a mistress who he loved, not just a mistress who's like
That's
having sex with that.
The lady
He was
who
like,
went
this
to-
is the most I can do. If I can't marry you, I'm going to make you the best dang mistress in town.
But
Yeah.
that's what he's
how it was.
saying now. But she's like, maybe he might change his mind because without a
That's
paper
what
to
she
say
was
we're
saying.
married, he could change
Yeah.
his mind.
The
at any
whole thing.
Of course.
Especially when his mom was talking about having the kids.
To say Penelope, that lady who's the mistress, she said he loved me, and now he's dumping her because it's out in the open, and he was going to lose everything. So
Yeah.
I mean, there was
That was an awkward walk in the park too.
yeah, that was not to
Oh,
me.
gosh, that
Just
was-
saying because we know him, he's a Bridgerton. Of course, he wouldn't abandon her. Real world's like he's a man who asked me to be his mistress, and he's a notorious rake. This could be his 1-year fling, and now I'm labeled the mistress. I got no money, ain't nobody hiring me for doing it. It's mistress work for the rest of it, and in those days, I have the pox, and I'm going to die within 5 years. It is not.
Keep in mind.
I mean,
Because that's what happened to mistresses. Yeah.
That's
The
what
ladies
happened.
of the
That's
night
what
tended
he's
to get the
notorious.
pox.
They had, but I mean, it's not just mistresses that was getting STDs and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. I mean, I listened to Sleep to Victorian Age work thing. I mean, I vlog this on YouTube as I go to sleep.
Oh, no.
Talk about how to live in those times, and it talks about women and just different things. And the amount of people that probably had syphilis was like, my God. They were getting it
Yeah.
from their husbands who's going to brothels and having mistresses
True.
and doing
True.
that. And just
Mhm.
and so you could be a lady and still have syphilis. And
So you said so, Stacey, it made me think of another thing that kind of bothered me about their relationship is he was a notorious rake, and we've seen that throughout all 4 seasons. He meets a girl, kisses her on the cheek, and now he wants to settle down. So again, I had this other, and like in the same freaking season, we see him getting in the 3-way, having the time of his freaking life. And I'm supposed to now think this is the one, the girl whose face he's never seen, don't know nothing about her other than 15 minutes of conversation, but he is ready to change everything he is for this woman. And I'm like, no, y'all.
I mean, it's a romance. I feel like we gotta
Yeah.
give it a romance.
I mean,
It's
we
a
gotta give it
romance,
something. And
though.
we
Can
knew
I
it was-
also say that if you're so much of an artist that you can remember her face to draw it, you can't remember her face. You can draw her lips in 15 pictures, but when you see her, you don't know them the same lips until the end when you look at the picture again and all of a sudden the light dawns. I'm like, what kind of artist are you?
Okay,
Okay,
that was
where
the
was
part
this
that I
from?
had the hardest time with. I'm going to be honest. here.
Thank you, Jen.
Is that Benedict, sir, what are you doing? How could you not recognize her? We have weeks of them in the same house and seeing each other all the time, and him staring at her mouth and then he goes on this little trip around to go see all the other eligible girls to find out who was there or whatever. And you're like, sir, what are you doing?
It's a
Yeah.
Batman
Well, at
thing.
least
It's like,
I would
boom.
say-
I don't know who
Right.
that is anymore.
Clark Kent! Clark Kent is Superman.
Right,
You just gotta put on
right.
some magic glasses.
I don't know if y'all
No,
know,
but
but
it's
I
not
watched
me.
this. At least when he was looking for the lips, he didn't look at lips of a black woman, because that was one of the things
You
I
know
was
that's
like, are y'all
right.
gonna act like he totally didn't know anything about what he was looking at? So
Yeah.
I was
Like
like,
that, you
And he
There,
did
there,
go
who
to
you
the
looking
Asian
for?
household.
I'm looking for an
Yeah.
Asian woman. I mean, something could have. I mean, I know. they
Well, he
didn't wanna
did because
put it in
remember
that-
he went
I
to
see-
her.
Okay.
He went to her house. Remember, he
I
knew.
have known she was Asian. Now, I'll give him that.
I
Like,
don't know because when he went there and saw the sister, he looked like he thought it was her until she started talking, and then he was like, "Can't possibly have been her,"
Yeah,
and that's when he
no.
gave up. So I do think he thought that maybe, but I agree with you, Jen, that they were at the house together. They stood in a million hallways where she was breathless and panting. And you mean to tell me in all those configurations of her mouth, you couldn't figure it out?
sex.
They
and
spent a
all
whole
over
Even
each other.
has exactly
No.
even after the night in bed, you still know. Like I
Right.
just, sir, you as observant as you think you are.
Well,
What's
They
happening
spent
here?
an
this
entire
is
week in
when
the cottage. A whole
That
week.
whole week.
Oh,
yes,
yes.
Just the two
yes.
of them. It's just the two of them.
Yep.
Does he
But
not
when he
recognize her
said
voice?
kiss me, I thought he
Can't re-
recognized her, but was in
Right, and
That-
she did too. I think
That
she did too. So I think that's why she was confused when he still kept acting like he didn't know who she was. I think she really thought he knew.
Yeah.
yes,
Mhm.
that right there,
Exactly.
Yep.
the kiss. That is when I was like, now I know we're gonna have this magical, like, I mean, butterflies are gonna start flying around. We're gonna figure it out, but no.
Nope. He still
And
didn't.
then it's like,
We went
well,
on for
I
another
thought you
month,
did
2 months.
figure it out. I'm with Marcy. I think she had the moment where she's like, well, I thought he figured this out. And I felt that too. I was like she's definitely thinking, I thought he figured this out
He
because
knows
he
it's
kissed me.
me.
But then
Exactly.
he's like,
But I
I
think-
haven't figured this out.
And I
And
think that's the. Oh, sorry, but I also think that might be the reason why I'm not going to be your mistress. You couldn't figure this out. Why should I trust you to be for the year?
Right.
You couldn't figure it out. That was me this whole time.
Clearly,
I'm gonna trust
you
your
wishy
word.
washy.
You know, you can figure that out this whole time, and we kiss, and you still don't. You can't say beyond me being a maid that the only thing I'm worthy of being to you is your mistress at this point.
Mhm.
And I do
Mhm.
see why she might say. Granted, she should have been to me more clear on that. If you're gonna be take another job, if Lady
Keep your
Bridgerton can
pants
help you
on.
get someplace else, then leave that place to get out of it. He lives there. That's his house. Leave. If you, but at the time, if you had some options to leave, leave. But
I can't.
I feel like I
But-
know they're the main couple for the season, and Benedict is very charming and he's always funny, and I love like his conversations that he has with Eloise. But I feel like there wasn't enough story for them to be the main characters, and they added in a whole bunch of stuff with the other servants. They added in, well, not added in, but they extended that storyline with Violet and what is that man's name?
Marcus Anderson.
Oh, John. Oh wait, no, Marcus Anderson.
No,
Wait,
Marcus
yes,
Anderson.
and I love.
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
I love
Wait.
them too.
Yes. So him, and then there was the great storyline with the Queen and with Lady Danbury. Like, but I feel like obviously the whole thing with Francesca and
Francesca and John. Mhm.
and you just kind of go with all this other stuff going on in this season, and they still spent too much time. I feel like they still spent too much time with Benedict and with Sophie because there wasn't enough story for it to play out. Because I would have really liked to see more of like Francesca and John, for example, right? Because they got together and they got married as like they were such side characters in the last season because there was so much focus on Penelope, and all it was is like she wanted to be quiet. She found somebody and they matched. Like he's supposed to be like this guy who she is so deeply in love with, and we don't really get that. We get that he likes to be quiet and she likes to be quiet, and they sit quietly together and they're comfortable together. Like you don't get this great love story of the two of them falling in love. And I do think they did a lot with her grief. I don't know if we're ready to move on, but they did so much with her grief, which I thought was really great. But they just didn't give him like, I don't know, enough.
Yeah.
I feel like they
really.
Yeah.
But
Because
she
we
hasn't
went
had
through-
her
we went through
story,
them
right? This is
She-
not her. He's not her story, right?
Right.
He's-
Yeah.
So
Right.
he's not. Yeah.
Right.
So let's move on then. Let us move on and talk about Francesca and John and all of John's family and all of that. Let's talk about that, because to me, I think that was also the more interesting romantic relationship. It can't be a romance because of what happens to John, but romantic relationship. One, because they're comfortable together, and it would have been nice to see them be comfortable together, but also being in. Remember, she says she doesn't really like the whole party scene, but it would have been nice to see both of them at a party, dancing, doing something, because they do have to make an appearance because they're there for the summer. Number one, we don't see Parliament at all. We just know that he goes to Parliament. So we don't even know anything about that part, which to me, if you're Now, maybe this is because we have a monarchy and things going on here that maybe Parliament is not really like our government is here at this point. Maybe Parliament is just a job, but I don't think so. I think you go into Parliament, it's got a little bit of gravitas to it. It would have been nice to see that. But from a romance perspective or romantic / relationship perspective, what I would really have loved to have seen, like with Violet and Marcus, especially with Violet, we see Violet dealing with falling in love and having sexual feelings at midlife, right? Or later in life.
Yeah.
So that's a theme for their relationship. And I liked how that played out. For John and Francesca, I would have liked to see more of how I'm in love with somebody, but I don't feel the sexual feelings that I think that everybody else is feeling. I would have loved to have seen
They did that in season 3. Remember? Because she went to Penelope, and that's when she realized that she wasn't having the big O like everybody else was, and she couldn't figure out where everybody
this season.
else was.
That's all combined in 2 episodes.
Oh wait,
in this season.
Oh, that was at the beginning of 4. Oh,
yes, it's all smashed together. Is what I'm saying. It's
been
just
treating them
all
like
smashed
together. All together. That break really messed me up.
Separate seasons.
There was in the first 4.
I don't know why they do that. I'm glad I'm not a part of the break.
In my mind,
and splitting it up. Yes, see, and that's the other thing. I didn't watch it split up either. I watched it all smashed together. But but it's only 2. It's only like 2 episodes. And she's, of course, not the focus, because Benedict and Sophie are the focus always in the Queen. So we don't really get to see this whole thing like actually play out. And by the time she starts exploring this,
he's dead.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I would have that's right. The other part is
so what do we think about this relationship? And there's something else there I want to say too, but that's on the other end. But what do we think about this relationship? It being chopped between 2 seasons and between this season, and it's still a secondary story. Did we like it? Did we want? I mean, obviously, some of y'all wanted more. Dana, you haven't necessarily talked about this yet. What were your thoughts?
This may be shocking to y'all. I want y'all to know that this season actually made me cry. I teared up. Now, and not for the reason probably maybe some people would think. It wasn't because of John per se, because I didn't know him. Like, I don't know anything about him. And
that's the thing. We don't know him.
I didn't know him. And he died really weird. It's just like, let's say I'm in my mind, I was like, maybe he had a brain aneurysm. It was just like, it was kind of like,
that's what I'm thinking.
He's just gone.
In the story, he did.
But to your point, like, I never got their love and their connection or whatever, but I recognized that wasn't supposed to be her story. So I was like, whatever. But hearing all the other women talk about husbands that they had lost, and just thinking about my own life and my own friends and family, and then seeing how all the characters were dealing with loss and talking about it, because it was funny, because some of it, I was like, I know y'all didn't feel that way about John. Y'all never really even talked to him for 1 or 2 seconds. But everybody, even Benedict, was dealing with their own loss, not necessarily John, but it brought up other things. I mean, it just actually, I was shocked. I was laying here and I was just tears falling out my eyes. And I was like, well, it ain't because of whatever. But I actually found a lot of those scenes very, very touching and endearing for the different characters. I liked it.
Yeah.
I did.
Yep.
Yeah. I do think that they did a really good job after the death of everybody confronting their grief and confronting the absolute shock of losing somebody who's so young. And so I feel like they did a really good job with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought so too.
I feel bad now because I really thought that was in season 3. That was just 2 episodes at the beginning of season 4.
It's all smashed together. Like, these are 2 huge things that could have had a whole season. Like her talking about like not being able to orgasm or whatever. We can say that on this show. And
they couldn't.
Yeah, they couldn't. But then it's not 2026 there. But
Pinnacle.
Anyway, Pinnacle.
Right. Pinnacle.
The Pinnacle. Yep. That and the grief, both of those are, I mean, I like the way that they're done, but we need a little bit more on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe too, we can also know a little bit more about John, so we can also have that romantic, I love them together. You can root for both of them, which would make the grief part a little bit, it would make us feel a little bit more.
When the cousin was telling the stories and they were sitting there chuckling, and especially when the cousin was like, "This is a dance we used to do when we were kids," I was confused because it didn't seem like the John that anybody had met who was going to be a dancer that would have done a dance like that. I was like, he used to dance, like it was very.
We didn't know anything about him.
I felt like the John they were talking about was not the John we met, and I agree with y'all that part was really weird because
their courtship was all about sitting quietly and being comfortable with sitting quietly. Their marriage was apparently about doing puzzles and sitting quietly. And so we don't know anything. We just don't have those like wonderful, like, I want these two to be happy sort of feelings. And
I mean, I did. I wanted the quiet couple to succeed, but I realized after he died that I didn't know. Like, I feel like I didn't know the guy.
That was just a non-issue to me.
I thought they were cute. I thought it was nice that they found the love.
I think they were a cute couple. I just think, but I think the fact that they did show enough of they weren't together long enough to see the different parts.
Right.
I can understand that whole, this is how you are with your cousins and all that versus is where I am with anybody else.
Right.
And I'll be fair, they did start off.
They didn't show, but I don't think they showed enough. They didn't spend enough time with them at all for them to see that kind of that side of him and all that. And when they brought in the cousins so soon, it's like, well, we're never going to see how they are as a couple because now it's a threesome at this point.
Right.
And she is overwhelmed.
She is a lot.
She very much is. She very much
but in
is.
fairness,
but
no,
I have something to
off,
say about that. But Dana, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just saying, in fairness, because I was like, I didn't care about them. That was kind of harsh, but they were cute initially when we first met them. I guess in season 3, because that whole quiet thing was very cute. But like in this particular season, I was just like, no. But the grief again, how that played out and stuff, I thought they handled it very well. I thought it was really good. Yeah. And I loved how, and this is kind of like slight diversion for this, so if you need to come back, but I loved how Violet was going through it. And then I love playful Violet. I don't know, like one thing about this, and we talked about how we like some of the other characters better. Y'all just don't know. Queen Charlotte will always be the best thing to me in terms of the sideshow. I just want to show about all of them. I still and y'all heard me say this before. And like Jerry, I want all of them. I love them. So I love Marcus and Violet. Like, I just love watching that. That was more interesting to me than the Bridgerton children.
Well, when it showed the whole Violet was getting ready, it's like, I'm the team. I was more excited about them getting together than the main characters. And then we had a big build up from her. If you think about it, was it last season to this season about the two of them and my garden is in bloom. And I was like, we've been waiting for this bloom, this blooming garden to be quenched with some rain. It has been. And so when she did, I like how it was really, and I loved it how she was really tasteful too. She was sexy, but tasteful.
Yeah.
And she wore something that was age appropriate sexy.
Yeah.
Right.
And she had it was just what she was wearing and her nervousness about it compared to her son, like, oh, I'm just having 3 people in the room, and now she's talking to her lady's maid, and her lady's maid is like, everyone has, what did she tell her? Everyone has
everybody has tea.
Yeah, everyone has tea.
Yeah.
And just like, I will get everybody out of this house because I know you had tea for a long time. So,
I know, that was so funny. I was like, yes.
You know, I was
but
like,
you
go
know,
ahead,
I'm like,
give her a raise because she clearly
right.
Yes.
You know,
but I do agree with her though. I really felt like he was rushing it. Like, as soon as they got together, he was like, marry me. And I was like, boy, that was faster than
I kind of felt like that's because of where they are. He wants to make
maybe, but
a right woman out of her, whatever it is they do.
Where
She was
it's
like,
where they are, and it's where he is at his time in life.
Yeah.
So this is the other thing about this. Like, he's at a certain point in life. Like, and she's not there. So that's the other thing, right?
Yeah.
She's
for
not
him
at that
is
point.
For him, like I have a wife, and I can someone to head my house. She'll be the household, whatever. And she's been the dowager lady. I mean, so she's had her own household in a way, even though her son hasn't really been like the Lord. I mean, he technically was the Lord, but he was so young that she really ruled everything in a sense. And she had this is my own house. This is my home. Because you did not want to leave. I'll find a dowager house as soon as I can get these kids out. And I was like, I think when you have, and I was like, she probably like, Eloise, I'm sure you want to, she probably wants Eloise to get married, but at the same time, that's going to get me soon out of this house. And I don't think marriage for women at that point, we saw that with Lady Danbury, she was younger, you giving up the freedom that she has, than she would. I mean, no one's touching on Bridgerton at this point. If she could do, I'm not saying whatever she wants, but she had a lot more freedom at this point. And so maybe, yes, he was her first relationship since her marriage. And she's like, I mean, I'm not sure if did she say she loved him or really just liked him. I mean, I don't know if it was really to the point where like, hey, I want to be locked down. I'm just now experiencing my garden blooming. I may want another few bees. I mean, it might be something different for her.
Right.
She needs her hoe time. She needs a little bit of hoe time. And then
and think about it. She's at the point of freedom.
I don't know what the expression would be.
I don't think it's that. I think it's she's finally free. And there's that moment where she was like, if I start over, then I'm gonna have to go through all that over again. But you're right, Stacey. She was just at the point where she could make her own calls. And I think getting to know Lady Danbury and watching the way she handled her widowhood and her empowerment, I think she was like, I'm not willing to give that up
for the first
to
one
go back under
along.
Somebody else's thumb. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, and maybe not even the first one, but let's be honest, being a wife, especially then, it's work. So, I mean, I need a moment. I got these kids finally out doing their own thing. I don't want to have a man baby. No, I'm joking. But a man that I got to take care of too. I need a minute. But I'll be honest, I did not see that coming. I did not think that she was going to walk away. And maybe because I liked them together. So I wanted them to be together. So I was shocked. I didn't expect that, but I understood it.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I felt. I didn't expect it, but I do understand it, especially for her. And two, especially with this garden blooming thing, right? Remember, this is only the second guy that she's been with.
She's gonna
her son's been hoeing around with men and women all over the place.
Now she going to them places.
No, it's not. I don't even know that
I don't even know that I think it's that. I do think it's because when I knew,
I mean, it's not just that, but that's part of it. I believe.
When Benedict said to her, when she said to Benedict, "You're very much my child," that I used to be young, wild, free, and unencumbered, and when he said to her, "I like seeing her. I like seeing her, and I hope you get more of her." I knew at that moment she wasn't gonna lock herself down no more, because she had that moment of realization too, that she could be that again, and she doesn't have a reason not to. She has access to money. She's got all the security and the freedom she needed, and that she could choose. And I don't even know that it has as much to do with a man, him man, other man, but I think it's the realization that in that moment that she did have a choice in how she could move forward. And I think at that point, the minute he offered her the alternative, she realized that that alternative also meant that she would lose the ability to be all of that again, because he's going to take her back to the traditional marriage of the moment, even if he was a nice man who was great in bed. He was still going to be a man who expectations that she now has the ability to beyond. And I think that was more what drove her to that, is when he said, and she started to remember who you used to be. And she's like, yeah, I'd like to be her again before I died. Yep.
Okay. Until this conversation, I know she said, oh, you're when she was talking to Benedict, and she's like, you're my child, or what have you. In my head, part of that went more towards like this artistic and has these big feelings kind of person. But it's funny to me to think about Violet seeing her rake of a son out here just having a great time with this, that, and everybody, and going, you're just like me. I used to be crazy too. And you're like, Violet, hold on. When was that? When were you? Hold on. So I hope that they do explore that a little bit more with her.
I want a whole separate series. Like, I'm telling you, I want all their backstories. And I know we got some of it in Queen Charlotte, but I would be down with every one of them having their own.
We could do a Queen Charlotte too. I mean,
are they doing a Queen Charlotte too?
I don't know, but I haven't found a person who doesn't love it more than Bridgerton. Like everybody talks about it. They do. So I'm like,
and so on that note, I feel like this season, especially with Violet and Marcus, and with Lady Danbury and the Queen. So let's talk about that. And two, seeing a lot of kind of Easter eggs to me from Queen Charlotte. I feel like I think that the showrunners heard us a little bit. Maybe not us, but maybe other podcasters.
Are you saying Shonda doesn't listen to Nerdy Romantic? I mean, I don't know why she wouldn't.
I don't know either.
Okay,
we got the good.
Okay, so we put that out there. But in case she did hear us, I think that the showrunners, in case they did hear us, I think that they gave us a little bit of Queen Charlotte in this season. And that's also part of the reason that I kept watching, other than the podcast. But to see that friendship and that long time friendship play out between Lady Danbury and the Queen. Lady Danbury wanting to do things for herself, go out on her own, and the Queen's like, no. I was like, all right, Queen Charlotte. She said no. But really, she's at this place where she's like, I need my friend, right? My husband is at this point where we probably not go see him again. He's gone a little bit there mentally. And the only person that's actually with Lady Danbury, I think, other than Brimsley in his own way, we'll say in his own way, he's still upstairs, downstairs. But I think Lady Danbury is the only person that can go woman oh with Queen Charlotte, right? She's the only one that can do that. Everybody else is like, we are respectful, afraid, whatever they are.
Yeah,
I don't understand
those other
monarchy,
ladies in waiting. The three women that stand behind her, wear white, and hold her dog.
Right.
Can you picture any faces? I can't.
Yeah.
Not a one.
No, you can't.
Only one, and that's the new girl. Yep, you're right.
Yeah,
Right.
But I think
That's
Lady
exactly
Danbury
why
put her in
Lady
that
Danbury-
place.
Right.
Yeah, but them other
So
three,
that
I
she
can
can
tell you
have-
nothing about them.
You can't. We don't even know their names. I don't think we've ever really even heard them talk. We've heard them say, but I don't think we've ever really heard them talk. But seeing this very close, long-time friendship play out here and go through its own rough patch and then back together kind of thing, and blessing to move forward kind of thing. To me, I think between that and the Violet and Marcus relationship, I think those were the two plots, themes, relationships that really spoke to me this season. And I think they really resonated with me this season, especially with the Lady Danbury and the Queen, because I am sitting here on this podcast and y'all are actually entertaining me with this crazy notion of a podcast, and 3 of y'all I have been friends with for like a long time. We won't say how long, but a long time.
A long time.
So that
Yeah.
resonates with me. Number one, because it's the friendship and because I have long-term friends too. And number two, because in this time, we have to see Black women be happy and be joyous. And they had that on here. And so if we're not seeing them be happy and joyous in love relationships, which then as friendships, having them being happy and joyous there that was everything, right? That was worth tuning in for, where I had lower expectations. That kept me watching. So what did y'all think about the whole Lady Danbury, Queen Charlotte kind of relationship evolution here? I think Stacey keeps getting drowned out. So Stacey, I'm going to give you a moment. What did you think?
I mean, for them, that was one of the main things I really liked about the season is watching them interact. I love watching those two interact all the time, Lady Danbury and Queen Charlotte. But I do see like Lady Danbury comes to the point where she does want to go beyond England, go back to our home country. But at the same time, when we saw Queen Charlotte, the show, she talked about my walls. You have to make your walls high. And the only person that was really behind those walls with her was Lady Danbury. Lady Danbury. And so, yes, she has Brimsley, but Brimsley is a servant versus Lady Danbury technically is a subject, but not a servant. And
she's a confidant. She's like the closest thing.
That's her real friend, as friends can be when one is the queen and can tell you where to stay or not.
Right.
But I mean, but you can say that was at that time. I mean, we saw no one else who was like truly on her same level. The closest one was Lady Danbury. Her children were her children, but they were still more scared of her than Lady Danbury seemed to be. And Lady Danbury seemed to be almost like on the same level, even though she was not a princess, she's not royalty, but she was the closest to the same level and the one who could tell her truly how things really were going in the world versus everybody else. Like, she's the queen, they'll tell her what version she needs to know. And I saw it, Lady Danbury, I think she understood. That's why she wouldn't let her go at first. And that's why she tried to put in, what's her name? What was the other girl's name?
She's Mrs. Mondridge.
Mrs. Mondridge.
There we go.
Yeah, I can't remember her first name, but Mrs.
Bringing
Mondridge.
her into it because she seems like someone, I guess Lady saw something of herself in her that she was never of the tongue. She is in the tongue now, but she wasn't of the tongue. So she did not have exactly the same feeling as those who were raised in the tongue about Queen Charlotte. And so, yes, the other lady, she would understand that she's a queen, but at the same time, I think she was trying to find her replacement. Like, I'm trying to slide this woman in so I can kind of move my way outside the door. And she has another person that can be a real friend to her and not just a subject or servant. And so we saw her doing that, but at the same time, you felt bad for Lady Danbury because you know that she wants to leave, and she understood when Queen Charlotte broke down. It's like, you can't leave me. You can't leave me. Yeah. And I as a friend, I could see her feeling that, yes, I can see why she would want me here for her friend. But at the same time, you are a friend who does have a life beyond this friendship. And so, I mean, that to me, I mean, that's why that was one of the best things on the show, because that was complicated. Yeah. You could understand both sides of it. She had no one because her husband's mad. I can't talk to him. I can't talk to the servants. I really can't talk to my kids. I have you, and you're going to be leaving. So there, I'm truly alone in the stranger in a strange land. I'm truly alone here, and you want to leave. And it seems like you want to leave me, but it's like, no, I'm not leaving you. I'm going to see something
not away from
you. Yeah. And so that makes a dip. But I can understand her at first saying no, because I'm going to be alone. And I
think that reaction. Exactly. That's the first
I understand that reaction. But I also see Lady Danbury, how smart she was. Like, let me find you somebody you can hang out with or something to help soften this blow. or at
Yeah.
least give me a little bit more room on my tether so I can go out.
Right.
And I mean, to me, that was one of the ones like I would have loved to see more of that one of how that was going. And even up to a point, the new lady, Mrs. Mondrick, would like to see more how she was fitting into that area and trying to, because I know she's supposed to look like to me, it's like she's trying not necessarily replace it, Lady Danbury, but kind of get into that whole, I would like to see more interaction with her and the Queen, if that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
Don't want her because she's never going to replace.
She's not
Lady
going to replace,
Danbury.
and I don't want her to replace.
And I don't
Lady
want
Danbury.
her to.
And I mean, when she said no, I was like, yeah, you say no because I want her to stay here on this show.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
But I knew she needs to. She's
coming back. They
Gone,
said she was.
Okay.
And
I
next
was gonna
season
say
she'll be
because she's like
gone for 6
because
months, but next
Yeah.
season she's there.
Yeah.
But I wanted to at least see some more interactions of that to see how she's fitting in there, at least a little bit, to see how she can. There's no way she can be Lady Danbury because there's no way, and see how she can kind of fill in some of the spaces, and we might see that in later season of how she's trying to bring, I guess, the commoner's view, because she essentially is a commoner view to Queen Charlotte.
Yeah. We will continue this discussion on our next episode. Make sure you're subscribed to Nerdy Romantics Podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and visit nerdyromanticspodcast.com to subscribe to our newsletter, where you can get show notes directly in your inbox. Thank you for listening.